You might not believe this, retro fans, but when I'm not living the life of a millionaire X-League presenter getting paid thousands an episode, I'm off enforcing law and order on American highways in a souped-up Porsche 928. Yeah, I know I've been pretty quiet about it all this time, but I just feel the need to confess all of a sudden. So when I was approached by a publisher showing me a game of my crime-fighting shenanigans, I was like, doesn't it look a bit rubbish for the modern consoles? And they were like, oh, don't worry, Larry, we've got access to a time machine, so I'll just go back and release it in arcades in the late 80s and call it Chase H.Q. And you know what? That's exactly what they did. Released by Taito in 1998, Chase H.Q. had you playing as a dashing Tony Gibson. I didn't want him to use my real name as I'm on a witness relocation program. Who must take down a series of mastermind criminals by chasing them down busy Chicago highways and ramming them until their car explodes. Hey, this is the 80s. Police brutality hadn't been invented yet. Of course, your elite driving skills alone won't get you to apprehend your target. If you've noticed, there's 3 rather curious looking symbols on the bottom of the screen. No, it doesn't mean you can only wash your Porsche at temperatures below 40 degrees. They're your nitros. Coincidentally, this was also one of the first games to actually use speed boosts, and very handy they were too, even if they did leave you smacking into the roadside scenery half the time. Also, if you've noticed similarities on looks of Outrun, that's because the game is running on a modified version of Sega's Super Scalar engine, which is pretty much the Unreal Engine of its day. It allows sprites to move across screen at tremendous speeds as well as change size without needing to redraw them. Very impressive stuff back then. But where would an 80s arcade game be without it being ported to every format known to man? And that's exactly what Ocean did a year later. As always, some of them were hit and miss, as you can see. For instance, here's the Master System version. The Game Boy version. PC Engine. The Amiga version, which they seem to have replaced with Charles Bronson in the title screen. Amstrad CPC. The NES version. And finally the ZX Spectrum version, bless. But you'll be surprised to hear that it was the most faithful of all the conversions and won greatest Spectrum game of all time in the final issue of Your Sinclair magazine. As always with successful games, a sequel came out hot on its heels with Taito releasing SCI, that's Special Criminal Investigations, a year later. There were some noticeable differences this time around. For instance, the Porsche 928 had been replaced with a Nissan 800ZX Z32. And you could also lean out the car and shoot your targets. While the game was just as successful as the original, it was heavily criticised for being too much like the original, with only a few new features tacked on. The series then fell into obscurity, Taito hoping to achieve the same success with console sequels for the Mega Drive and the SNES, but failed miserably as they changed the original format too much this time. They did resurrect the series in 2005 with Chase H.Q. 2 in arcades, but with no home port and the way arcades have fallen into decline these past few years, not many people got to experience it. Whilst Chase H.Q. has never achieved the same cult status as other driving games of its age, its legacy lives on, as practically every game that involves police chases has you repeatedly smash the enemy until they give up. The Grand Theft Auto Vigilante missions are especially a homagic nod to the series. But if you ever see a machine in one of those skanky old seaside arcades, it's well worth popping in a couple of your 20p's. Especially the full-scale pneumatic ones that tilt as you drive. Those things were awesome.
Okay, you're under arrest on suspicion of first-degree murder.
This has been a Portland Interactive production for XLeague.tv.
You're not very good at this, are you?